The bribery scandal dates back to at least the mid-2000s. Officers up to the rank of Rear Admiral have been indicted for accepting bribes in exchange for handing over classified information. Though Leonard Francis isn't just a criminal matter for federal prosecutors. Fat Leonard has become an ethical embarrassment for the Navy.
In exchange for classified information, Fat Leonard treated U.S. naval officers to decadent orgies in Manila.
In March, a new round of indictments were embarrassing enough to attract late-night host Stephen Colbert,
including a raging multi-day party at the Shangri-La Hotel with a rotating carousel of prostitutes. Of course, the carousel of prostitutes is the most popular ride at Prostitute World.
Aside from the embarrassing headlines, or perhaps because of them, the Navy is changing the way it teaches ethics. Tom Creeley was a naval officer in Hong Kong in the early 1990s, before the scandal. When Creeley refused to let an American salesman on his ship, the conversation abruptly shifted to horse racing.
You know, there was this one horse that really made me a lot of money. And I'm sitting there in total amazement, and he says, that was the Tupelo Loose. Well, I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Creeley now teaches ethics at the Naval War College. He tells his class that was a bribe. And when Creeley still refused to let the contractor on the ship, that salesman threatened to go to the U.S. ambassador. Creeley is now reworking the Navy's ethics education to help other officers resist temptation. He started at the War College 3 years ago, just after the first indictments were announced.
A lot of times, people such as Fat Leonard, he tries to find people's weaknesses.
The Navy is still trying to figure out how to react to the bribery scandal. Just now, the Navy is ditching a required yearly online ethics course in favor of face-to-face training. The idea is to make ethics part of the daily conversation. I talked with the head of the Navy, Admiral John Richardson. He took over as Chief Naval Officer after the prosecutions became public. He's confident the Navy is making the right changes.
The tearing down forces all around us are severe, both inside and outside the military. And we just need to do everything we can to strengthen our people to resist those tearing down forces so that they remain on that road towards becoming the leader we want.
The Navy is changing officer evaluations. Though the program is so new, the Navy couldn't actually provide a copy of the new form. They want to zero in on character. Officers will be judged on ethical behavior. The scores will be used when officers come up for promotion. Experts say repairing the Navy's ethical climate won't be easy. In San Diego, the Navy handles its own ships. Though often around the world, they have to rely on private companies. Now, there were officers who felt Leonard Francis was overcharging the Navy. They were often thwarted by other officers who are now under indictment, who helped steer Leonard Francis's contracts through the system.
The way the military personnel system is set up today, it fosters a culture of careerism, where it does not pay to rock the boat.
Dan Grazer is with the Project on Government Oversight. He specializes in national security. He believes the Navy needs to make life easier for officers who stand up to their superiors.
If you're that squeaky wheel, rather than getting grease, you're probably just going to get sledgehammered and thrown away.
Pauline Shanks-Corinne teaches applied ethics at Pacific Lutheran University.
Scandals of this kind and scale don't just appear overnight. It's not just one bad apple.
Many of her students are in the military. She thinks the Navy is quick to blame the individual, but leaders are less eager to challenge the Navy's culture.
I think that's problematic. I think you don't have individuals within an institution acting in this way unless there's some kind of culture that facilitates that or makes that possible.
She urges the Navy to dig deeper and look at its own culture, which produced so many officers who buckled under temptation. Experts we talked to say it could be years before we know whether the Navy has really closed the ethical gap uncovered by Fat Leonard. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.